We've heard Al talk about Peggy's terrible family a lot over the course of 2 seasons, and we're finally going to meet them. Well, we meet her uncles Otto and Erwin and her triplet aunts. We don't actually get to see her mom, but we continue to intimate that she's an incredibly large woman. She can apparently only travel by horse trailer, and she's tough to get in and out of even that. In fact, Otto is annoyed at Erwin for forgetting the WD-40, so that's neat. Welcome back to another episode of The Rank. I'm John, and today we're ranking the next episode of Married with Children. Now, for those of you who are new to the show or have seen a bunch of these and still don't know how it works, here's the agenda. First, we start with the Potent Notables, which are just a couple interesting facts or tidbits that I found out about the episode or series. Then we go into the episode overview, where I talk about everything that happened in the episode from beginning to end. And then I do the namesake of the show, The Rank, where I rank the episode on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best, in 5 categories, all to find out what is the best sitcom of all time. The premise here is we're taking a sitcom, we're ranking every single episode, then we average out those rankings, and that's the series ranking. Obviously, Married with Children is one of them, and today we're ranking the 22nd and final episode of season 2, titled All in the Family, written by Jerry Perzigian and directed by Linda Day. Now, this sitcom's been out for 40-something years, so, or almost 40 years anyway. There's going to be spoilers. You can't get upset about it. You can watch it on Hulu. I don't know what to tell you. There's going to be spoilers. Now, for those of you who've been watching for a while, or maybe this is your first go-around and you just really like it so far, please consider subscribing and or following, like the episode, comment. You can email me at info@therankpodcast.com. You can send your questions, suggestions, comments, whatever. I will respond to you. If you super duper like it, you could consider supporting the show by becoming a patron on our Patreon site at patreon.com/therankpodcast. Without further ado, let's find out how this episode ranked, starting with the Potent Notables.
Potent Notables.
So this episode aired Sunday, May 1st, 1988. For those of you following along, you'll notice that we jumped from March 13th to May 1st. Well, that was because there was a writer's strike. The Writers Guild of America strike went from March 7th to August 7th, 1988, so the show went on hiatus. Now, I'm not sure how they were able to put a new episode out in May if they were on strike still. My guess is that they had the episode banked and decided to just release it regardless. I think that a lot of the networks did this. As you'll find out in a second, they all had new episodes this day as well. Married with Children had the strongest rating I've seen so far. I'm guessing it's because people were jonesing for new content. It was still in its 8:30 time slot, and it actually beat 21 Jump Street. But it still ended up being second because America's Most Wanted, its lead-in, got a 6.6, while Married with Children got a 6. So as for competition, CBS's Murder, She Wrote destroyed everyone with a 20.8, and it lost to NBC's Day by Day, which had an 11.7, but while it still lost to ABC Special Superstars and Their Moms, it was not that huge of a loss, as that got a 9.1. So will we see Married with Children jump one of the other network programs next season? I'm excited to find out. Now, at the end of every season, I like to check the Emmys to see what the show did. While Married with Children wasn't nominated for anything, sort of not surprisingly, what I did find a little interesting is that the Emmys were actually broadcast on Fox that year, and the only Fox show that was nominated for anything was The Tracy Ullman Show, which had 3 nominations and naturally didn't win a thing. Now on to the episode Potent Notable. James Gypsy Hake replaced Divine, who was originally cast to play the role of the transvestite Uncle Otto, but died shortly before filming began. So there you go. All right, those are the Potent Notables. Not super heavy, but we'll work with what we've got. Let's go to the episode overview. Okay, so we're just gonna start off with, this was a weird episode. We start with Al being excited that Peggy was asleep before he got home and out of bed before he woke up, and that it looks like he's going to get breakfast. But we see that she's buttering him up to give him either bad news or ask for something, right? It's kind of both, because she wants his blessing for her to invite her family down, but she already has anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We've heard Al talk about Peggy's terrible family a lot over the course of 2 seasons, and we're finally going to meet them. Well, we meet her uncles Otto and Erwin and her triplet aunts. We don't actually get to see her mom, but we continue to intimate that she's an incredibly large woman. She can apparently only travel by horse trailer, and she's tough to get in and out of even that. In fact, Otto is annoyed at Erwin for forgetting the WD-40. so that's neat. The one thread throughout the entire episode, though, is that Al is obsessed with watching Hondo. It's almost never on TV, I guess, and he wants to watch it and record it. Can you imagine not just having whatever entertainment you want to watch just at your fingertips? Like, I was curious how easy it would be to watch Hondo now, and I Googled where to stream Hondo, and it's free on Prime. It's just wild. Anyway, what Al is worried about is that he's going to miss watching Hondo, just like he missed watching Shane the last time they visited. Will he be right? Well, the Wanker family from Wanker County doesn't seem to like Al as much as he doesn't like them, but they still think of him as a professional man and worthy of asking advice from. So when it turns out that one of the triplets is thinking of getting married and causing a potential problem to the family income, they ask Al's advice, clearly hoping that he'll advise her not to get married. But Al says that if she's found someone to marry her, she should marry him. She has his blessing and he has his pity. And now the family is mad at him, of course. So Al leaves. But where does Al go? Why, off to Steve and Marcy's, of course. They're about to have sex, as they say in their romantic banter, which is how all married couples before kids talk about having sex.
It's like he was talking from experience.
And then Al interrupts. It doesn't take him too long after that before he's got them arguing with each other about their in-laws, and then Peggy takes him away and their romantic night is over. It was actually the best bit of the episode, in my opinion. Now, why did Peggy take him away? Because he needs to help find the triplets who have run away. Well, he finds them at the dock, and he's so fed up with the Wankers that he tells them to shut up because he's going to watch Hondo, which they taped for him. He starts to watch it, but naturally, Otto and Erwin have taped over it with a message to Peggy. The message? They sing, "You are so beautiful," to her, which was really freaking bizarre and also wouldn't have taped over a whole movie. One other thing, it's not how that would have worked. They would have needed a camcorder. I don't know. This whole thing was really weird, but don't worry, the weirdness will end with Al threatening to kill them all with a shotgun. But apparently this was all just some kind of murder fantasy that Al was having while Peggy was waiting for him to answer whether or not her family could come visit. So the entire episode was in Al's imagination. But we end the episode, though, with Uncle Erwin bashing his head through the Bundy's front door, so it seems there may have been some validity to Al's imaginings. Now, will Al's imagination lead to a good ranking, though? Let's find out.
A wank.
So the rankings is where I rank the episode based on 5 categories: story, acting, dialogue, episode coherence, and character relatability. I rank it on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best, and then I have a laugh counter where I tally up the amount of times the episode made me laugh out loud. 1 point per laugh out loud gets added to the score. Now, before I dive into the rankings, I just want to say if you're enjoying this episode, please leave a like down below. It really does help us out. Sorry for the pandering. It does help, so I gotta keep asking. Anyway, let's go to the rankings. First category is story, and I gave story a 3. The premise of the episode is a fun one, but then they kind of wreck it a little bit by having it be all in Al's head. It's a little bit saved by Erwin's door antics at the end, but not totally. So let's go to acting, which I gave a 2.25. Look, the acting was bad this episode. They often are when they have guest actors. Ed O'Neill and Katie Seagal are good as always, and I enjoyed the small part that Amanda Bierce and David Garrison have. It was really just Peg's family that were just awful. They're really bad. All right, so let's go to dialogue, which I gave a 2.5. I mean, it was really bizarre. It wasn't bad. It definitely wasn't good. It did make me laugh a decent amount of times, which saves it from being lower, but this felt like an episode that was created just to make fat and dumb jokes, which is fine, I guess. Just, not super clever. So let's go to episode coherence, which I gave a 2.5. Well, the description of the family throughout the series holds true, which was good, but then it's all Al's imagination, so we don't really know, I suppose. Anyway, it wasn't bad coherence, but this being the imagination of Al feels very odd. Hard one to rank because nothing really happens, so it doesn't really have any coherence. All right, so let's go to character relatability, which I gave a 2.75. Well, all the characters are essentially in Al's head, but Al was relatable, I guess. Peggy's family wasn't, nor were the kids. I don't know, this was a weird episode. I found Al relatable, but I suppose it makes sense that he would be because he imagined it all. I don't know. All right, so it's a pretty up and down ranking here. A really good laugh counter will save it. It's not a really good laugh counter. It's a decent one, though. It got me 15 times, which is a decent amount of laughs. Unfortunately, though, the episode total is at a 28, which means it was not into the top 3 tiers. It ended up as a mediocre. Now, for the series average, the average is now at a 33.1, which keeps the series as an I'd watch it again. So thanks for listening and or watching. If you'd like to see a list of our episode and series rankings, you can do that on our website at therankpodcast.com. Remember to subscribe, review, and comment, and please consider supporting us on our Patreon site at patreon.com/therankpodcast, where you can get access to all of our archived episodes. And again, if you enjoyed the episode, please leave a like down below. It really does help us out, but I will leave you with this. Why did the neighbors complain when Peg's mom came to visit?
Well, why is that?
Because she blocked out the sun.
Yo mama jokes?
Your mama's so fat, she blocked out the sun. and that it looks like he's going to get breakfast. But we see that she's but we
What do they call that? Tourette's?
Tourette syndrome.
Yeah.
Wow.